Welcome back to The Sweat, everybody. I'm here with DraftKings contributor Geoff, Ulrich, and RotoWire's Paul Bruno. Guys, it is time for NHL Opening Face-off. We're going to choose between DFS and Sportsbook plays on tonight's 9-game NHL slate. So after back-to-back nights of having exposure to Connor McDavid, the Oilers are off tonight. All right, Avs center Nathan MacKinnon is $1,600 more expensive than anyone else. So we're going to slide down the board a little bit here and look at the Rangers' Mika Zibanejad, who comes in at $7,600. And Winnipeg Jets center Mark Scheifele, he's $300 cheaper. I mean, Geoff, do either of these guys interest you, or is this the type of night where you want to pay down at center?
Yeah, I mean, I think as we're talking about the slate, it's going to come to, fruition that I kind of like paying down at center. We're going to be talking about some higher end defensemen and stuff like that, some guys on the wing who are cheap as well. But, McKinnon is fine. I'm not going to make an argument against paying up for Nathan MacKinnon, but if you do want to pay up at other positions, I think there's a couple players under 7K specifically. Zibanejad, fine. Scheifele is a guy I just almost never pay up over 7K for. He just doesn't get enough shots on goal. But Elias Lindholm at 6,300, I think, is very attractive tonight. This is a guy who can get you the shots on goal bonus and a goal. He's done it a couple times in his last 10 starts. He's just very consistent. The Flames have kind of piled on their top line, all their talent. They're playing the Jets as well. This is a big game. I mean, Calgary's probably out of the playoff spot, but they really need to win tonight as well to have any chance. And realistically, Winnipeg's just played poorly. I really like going after the Calgary top line. I think Lindholm is very good value, and I think Ryan O'Reilly at under 7K is too. So all things considered, I like paying down tonight.
Paul, you want to pay down here?
Yeah, I'm with Geoff on this one. I think I'll stay away from Zibanejad because the Rangers' offense is depleted, and I think their focus is going to be a little bit off as a result of that little fiasco on Monday night. So I'm a little more interested in Mark Scheifele this evening because he's got one of the key leaders for a Jets team that is desperately motivated to snap a long losing streak. I think special teams could be a big factor in a game between two physical clubs like these two, and it could be the tonic that finally helps Winnipeg snap that streak. And I agree with Geoff's thought on Ryan O'Reilly. He's a guy that's been on a tear with 11 points and 10 in the last 10 games played by the Blues, and finally ramping up and getting ready for the playoffs after stumbling earlier on. They'll be motivated by a chance to secure a final playoff spot, and their captain's going to lead the way, I do believe. And they get a favorable matchup against a weak Anaheim club this evening as well. If you're also looking for a cheaper guy than any of us has thought about so far, I like Joel Eriksson-Ek for only $4,100, a key part of the high-scoring offense in Minnesota. He's got 8 points in his last 10 games played, and the Wild is looking awfully good in the last 3 weeks.
Okay, well, at wing, guys, we got question marks at the top of the board on the status of some top options here. Alex Ovechkin seems more unlikely to play than Max Pacioretty, who's listed day-to-day by Vegas. Let's just go ahead and avoid that uncertainty and look at two guys coming off really good performances. Minnesota's Kevin Fiala has at least a goal and an assist in each of his last 3 games. Dallas Stars forward Tyler Seguin scored the game-tying goal in a 5-4 OT loss to Florida in his first game action of the season. Both these guys are 6,100 tonight. Paul, are they worth a look in your book?
I really like Fiala's price point tonight, coming off a white-hot stretch that dates back a lot longer than you noted. 13 points in his last 10 games played. He's been a consistent scorer for the Wild for a heck of a long time. On Sagan's notes, I see that he played only his first game of the season earlier this week. Obviously a key part of the Stars offense, but I'm a little reluctant to play either guy this evening, truth be told, because they face top-end opponents this evening. Instead, I'm looking at Blake Wheeler, the captain of the Jets, priced at only $5,900, and he's picked up 7 points in his last 10 outings, much of that during the Jets' recent slump that we've noted. He's very comfortable with the physical tone of a game that is likely to happen with the Flames, and will be highly motivated tonight to get this team off the schneid. And one other interesting winger is Jake Batharson, who's priced at only $5,300. He's feasted on the matchup against Montreal all year long, and his club has enjoyed playing the spoiler role in the North Division on the whole. He and the Sens are in fact winning the season series against their closest geographic neighbors.
Geoff, what do you think? You don't like these guys and the matchups they have? You looking elsewhere?
No, yeah, definitely. I'm pretty much on the same page here. Just two matchups that, Tampa Bay, Vegas. I mean, if I'm going to pick between Seguin and Fiala, it's definitely going to be Fiala. Dallas Stars offense just kind of can really be hit or miss, and Seguin a couple games back. Fiala's been on fire, though. A guy you don't really even have to stack sometimes just because he's just more of a pure goal scorer, gets moved around the lines a bit. I like paying up for Phillip Forsberg tonight. It's only his 3rd game back, but, Nashville in a dogfight for a playoff spot. Forsberg is another player who just, he can pop off 6-7 shots on goal and a goal or an assist or something. Columbus is terrible. So you're paying up a little bit more, but the matchup is so much better here. I also don't hate David Perron at 6,700. I would choose Forsberg. Both those guys have terrific matchups, much better than Fiala and Seguin. And if you're paying down for a guy, I'm going to stick with this Calgary theme. I think this Winnipeg-Calgary game, as Paul's alluded to as well, is a good one to target. Johnny Gaudreau, 4,800. I mean, he's averaging over a point per game over his last 10 games. We know this is a player who can get hot as well. For this price, going up against the Winnipeg team, we just cannot keep the puck out of their net right now. Gaudreau is a great value.
All right, we usually don't like to pay up too much at defense in this segment, but is this perhaps the night to do it? Coyotes D-man Jakob Chychrun has turned into a fantasy point machine, averaging 18.1 fantasy points per game over his last 10. Now he's at the top of the defenseman price bracket. He's 7,300. Right below him, 7,200 is Nashville's Roman Josi, fresh off a 35.7 fantasy point performance in his last game. Are you going to be spending cash on the blue line tonight, Geoff?
Yeah, it really does kind of feel like you should probably get exposure to one of these guys. They both have really good matchups. Well, Josie's is probably a little bit better. The Kings do have still a decent power penalty kill, but Chychrun, it doesn't even really matter. I mean, this guy's just firing the puck at will, leads defenseman in goals scored, and he's kind of in a race for that title as well with Darnell Nurse. So I don't really expect Chychrun and the Coyotes to just dial him back here as the season goes on. Now, they could get eliminated tonight, I do believe. I'm saying that correctly, but I don't really think it matters. I mean, I think Chychrun's going to be playing a ton towards the end of the year. So I would probably lean him over Josie, even though Josie has a bit better matchup. Chychrun is just it's almost like getting a scoring winger there. So one thing you could consider doing is paying up for both guys too. I kind of alluded to this, but these guys have been such good high-end point producers that you can pay down maybe for the Ottawa first line or the Calgary first line and save money there, and then pay up for both these guys, maybe pay down goalie. The only other defenseman I'll bring up who's played really well late, Jeff Petrie, 5,900. Great matchup tonight against Ottawa. He's got 3 assists in his last games. He's been more of a power play producer of late. So Petrie is the guy if you're going to pay down, but realistically, I kind of like getting exposure to one of those top 2 guys tonight.
Paul, what do you think? You want to pay up on the blue line?
You know what? This year I've had great success punting on the defense on the whole, and including 2 tournament wins last week. So I'm going to stick with that theme. I'm going to go value hunting tonight. And I find great value in a couple of players that we haven't talked about. Ryan Ellis, for instance, plays a ton of minutes in all situations for the Predators, comes into this game with 7 points in his last 10 games. He'll only cost you $5,700. Another guy who's been a key piece for his team and also has 7 points in his last 10 outings. It's Alex Goligoski of the Coyotes. His price is a bargain at $4,400 because I like his matchup against the visiting LA Kings.
All right, skipping ahead to our final question, Paul, what is your favorite NHL bet of the night?
Well, I'm looking at the Senators Canadiens game. The Sens have given the Canadiens fits all season long and actually lead their head-to-head matchup on the year. While I know the Ottawa club is not going to the playoffs, they would like nothing more than to stick it to the Habs one more time tonight. So I would certainly be on the puck line, taking them as a 1.5 goal underdog and a plus 133 on the money line as the home dog tonight. That's a tasty one for me.
Geoff, your favorite NHL bet of the night?
Yeah, I like that money line bet on the Senators. I'm going to go to the Blues, though. The Blues can basically clinch tonight with a win. They're playing the Ducks again. The Ducks are terrible. St. Louis has won 5 of their last 6 games. Take them on the puck line. Plus 105, minus 1.5 to cover. I think the Blues just blow out the Ducks tonight. They get it done. I really like that puck line bet.